It is deja vu all over again, except that the balance of power does not depend on the outcome of this race. And I want to ask you about that. I mean, how are both sides feeling? How do they drive turnout, given that that same level of urgency is not there?
That's all that everyone is talking about here, Kristen. And I would say on the Republican side, there's a bit more nerves right now about that enthusiasm gap, because not just of the results we saw out of Nevada, but also because of what we saw on Tuesday. Look, you know, Herschel Walker underperformed Governor Kemp by a lot in a number of parts of the state. And here in Augusta, he trailed him by about 2,000 votes. He really needs to not only go back around and educate voters, make sure the people who already voted for him vote a second time, but he also needs some of those more middle-of-the-road Republicans, the type of people who like Governor Kemp but aren't so enthusiastic about, say, former President Trump and Herschel Walker's connections to him, and convince some of them to vote for him. Warnock has done a runoff before. Granted, this one is under slightly different circumstances, a lot less time. There's just over 3 weeks left in this race now. And so he's really focused on that education piece, on sort of riling up the base. I was with him at a black church the other day. Then I was at a charity event where he was talking to really young parents and young people there who were, you know, both giving out items to people in the community, but also there to see one of the most famous rappers here in Atlanta. And so he's really going back, in some cases, to communities he's already talked to and just making sure they know December 6th is really happening. So when you talk to voters on the ground here, they think it's the Republicans who, you know, have the most to be nervous about. Between President Trump announcing that he might be running again, between the results we saw on Tuesday, this red wave that never was, Kristen, it's the Republicans who think that they, you know, have a lot more to be nervous about. And many of the people I talked to today admitted that that was the case.
Antonia, very quickly before I let you go, and you have been crisscrossing a number of these battleground states. Here you are in Georgia. Do you get the sense from talking with voters that there's a sense of fatigue? All of the ads, all of the vitriolic language that they've heard back and forth?
Absolutely. In both North Carolina and Georgia, two states where I've spent a lot of time, Republican voters are exhausted by the ads. Democratic voters as well. I think some people in Georgia here the other night, I was at dinner, were joking about the fact that they're not free from the ads yet. Everyone else gets the ads off their TVs, and they're going to have to watch them for a couple more weeks. And everyone's kind of miserable about it, frankly. And even some of the Republicans I talked to today at Herschel Walker's rally here in Augusta, you know, they were saying to me that they're nervous about, you know, President Trump potentially coming here, trying to help Herschel Walker out on the road. They said that the former president often brings drama with him. And even though they supported him, they voted for him, they like him, they were hoping that people like Governor Kemp or maybe even DeSantis would come help him out, because they want to tamp the drama down. They want this to be a smooth sailing 3 weeks, Kristen.
It's such an important point that you bring up, because obviously we saw the Trump effect in the closing days of these midterms. Fantastic reporting, Antonia. Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.